Hello, we'll start now.
Sure, Vijay.
Yeah. Right. Therefore, there are different ways in which you can analyze the requirements. Right. Say, for example, you are doing projects to UK geography or Europe geography, then they will think like business and system requirements are one and same. If you're doing projects to US geography, they will separate business, system, and technical requirements separately. Therefore, it depends on who are the clients. Accordingly, you will be analyzing these requirements. Right. Basically, there are three categories of requirements in broad. Like business requirements are also called user requirements. When they talk about the business process from the end user's perspective, how this application works, or what are the business rules. And system requirements or software requirements or functional requirements are one and same. And these mainly talks about how do you implement these requirements into the software, mainly from the developer's point of view. And technical requirements is mainly architects or database designers, they will prepare like in which module the project is implemented or in which table the project is implemented. There are three categories of requirements documents.
Vijay, what is the tables you mentioned there? Technical requirements?
That is from which table the data is populated. Right? It is basically called technical design documents.
There could be other type of
Yes.
technical documents too, right? Apart from tables.
Yeah, there will be database design related ER diagrams, all those comes here.
Okay.
Yes. And these are the three broad categories. Business requirements, you are talking to the end users and gathering business rules. You're called as business analysts. System requirements, you're implementing these business rules into the software, like by taking the help of architect or some project managers and implementing into the software or some subject matter experts. Technical requirements, mainly technical design documents. These you will not prepare, usually developers will prepare this. Right. For business requirements, sometimes high level context diagrams, data flow diagrams, or business rules. Right. All these you will add as part of this business requirements. Right. Then functional requirements, like mainly how the requirement is implemented in the software. That we will analyze using these use case diagrams, workflow diagrams, right? Or some functional and non-functional requirements. All these also part of this requirements document. And technical requirements mainly like database design, SQL query, business rule engine, all these are part of technical requirements. These are developed by developers. Right. And basically, how do we communicate to the people? What type of questions you should ask when you gather or when you want to categorize these requirements? You should know who provides these requirements, who reviews these requirements, who approves these requirements, and who uses these requirements. Right? Based on these questions, you can categorize this requirement belong to which module, or is it a system or it is business. Right? Accordingly, you can analyze. Right. Mainly business requirements talks about what is that to be implemented in the software from the end user's perspective. Functional requirements talks about how it is implemented. Right. Therefore, say for example, you have library management system. Business rule is every employee can take 2 books at a time. That is a business rule. How that is implemented in the software is first you should have a login page. Then if user ID password is correct, then it is going to home page. From home page, it is going to books issuing screen. And then if the person is taking greater than 2 books, like you are doing different validations. What is his past history of taking the books? What is the designation in the company? What are the recommendations? All this. That is part of functional requirements. Right? Technical requirements is mainly from the developer's perspective or technical design documents. And this diagram you should know in the high level. If you're writing business requirements in the very detailed level, those are called as business use case descriptions, process maps, data requirements. If you're writing business requirements in a broad level, Those are called as data flow diagrams, decomposition diagrams, use case diagrams, workflow diagrams. If you're writing functional requirements in broad level, those are called workflow diagrams or use case diagrams. If you're writing functional requirements in very detailed level, then it is like screen prototypes or system use cases, database design. Therefore, it depends on like you're gathering the requirements in the high level or in the detailed level. Accordingly, you should use any of these diagrams in your requirements documents. You can see like workflow diagram is there in all the four quadrants, right? Therefore, it can be high level workflow or low level workflow, both. It can be functional workflow or business workflow. And also use cases, it can be system use cases or business use cases, both you have to write. Yes. For example, if you have a requirement document, like vision and scope document is the first document you're going to create. So for that, these are the minimum things should be there. Statement of the purpose, always required. At least one objective should be there. At least one problem or opportunity should be there. Any high level business process. Glossary is always required. This is from the first document, like vision and scope document. Before starting the project, this you're going to prepare. Then you come up with business requirements documents. For every business requirement document, there should be at least one business process, at least one entity and attributes part of it. Right. Therefore, this also, there is no specific format or a template. Therefore, based on your client need or a company need, you can use any of these formats. And for functional requirements, you have all these use cases, workflow, system functionality, user interfaces, performance requirements, security, quality. All these will add as part of functional requirements. In functional requirements document or business requirements document can include even functional and non-functional requirements also. Therefore, think in this way, depending on type of project, you will add any of these parameters into your documents. Right? If it is a small project, less than 120 hours or less than 10 users, project in, for these minimum data requirements should be there, functional requirements should be there, and user interface requirements or some non-functional requirements for quality, performance, security, all these will be there for small projects. If it is medium project, like 120 to 1040 hours, then you should have all these. For large projects, all these are mandatory. Requirement sections are mandatory. Again, there are different types, like bug fixing project, nothing is mandatory. Or new build or new version release projects or new technology projects, enhancement projects, purchasing of commercial of the self softwares or infrastructure related projects, you should add these sections into your requirements documents.
Vijay, one question, can I?
Yeah, ask.
Where does size come into picture here? I mean, you're talking about small, medium, and large projects.
Yes.
What needs to be, all the data that goes in, right? Business functional and all that. So, suppose, say for example, the size of the software in terms of function points or
Yes.
any other methodology, where does that come in?
No, that is nothing but your screens, reports, one or two reports, or how many users. Right. Therefore, this depends on like how complex the project is. You can take in terms of number of users for your project, or you can take in terms of number of reports you are generating, or number of business logic you are adding into the software.
This is right. So this is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is through size.
Yeah, there are different.
So how does that fit in here? I mean, supposing I'm a BA,
yes.
Will I also have to, give inputs for size as well?
Estimations is taken care by project manager. If it is small project, yourself is a project manager and BA. If it is a big project, estimations are taken care by project manager.
But that can also be included in this, right? In these requirements.
Yes, right. Because it depends on how complex project you're handling. If you're a lead BA and managing team of BAs under you, then you should give the estimates for your team. How many requirements you will gather, how many days it will take to complete these requirements, or how many interviews, workshops you will be doing. Either decision maker is part of it, right? Therefore, that estimate you're going to give as a lead BA to senior management.
Mhm.
Right? Therefore, you will be doing requirement related estimates. That is BA work. Overall project related estimate, project manager will take care of it. Right. This is, which one is good or bad requirement? This, you can say application is sent to system using Foxtrot from internet. Foxtrot is some like internet application, which is ready-made app. Business will review the application and contact the customer, let them know the decision they have come up with. Which one is good or bad business requirement?
Vijay, I didn't quite get this. What's this about good or bad business requirements?
I'm asking like which one is good requirement or a bad requirement in terms of business. Say for example, if you're talking about business, what all should be there? Also referred to as business rules, defines who, what and how, what and when, not how. Should not have any technical details unless customer has specific business rules. Customer is only the audience for the business rules and should be written reflecting business point of view. As is and to be can be part of it, or business process changes can also be part of it. Right? This is what required from the business requirements perspective. Therefore, now we can answer this question. Which one is good or bad business requirement?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
Vijay sir, sorry for interrupt. I have one doubt. Previous slide, there will be one size and hours. You have explained goodly, but I have one confusion there. Is
Yeah.
this unit we are measuring that requirements in hours, or who will decide this estimation? Yeah, this slide. Yeah. So this is the unit hours and this all we are measuring the requirements.
Yeah, this is a generic way of doing it. Right. It
Okay,
goes
so
like
yeah, this is the unit like hours and weekly. Uh,
yeah,
we
percent
have
or
to, yeah, okay. And this who will do estimation, like if it is a small project or a big project. So is the BA responsible for this estimation?
only BA related tasks is responsible for BA. Right. If there is overall project estimation, taken care by project manager. And
Okay,
sometimes
okay.
if it is a small project, then
Yeah.
BA himself is PM or PM himself is BA. Therefore, he should take care of estimations. If it's a big project, then both are different. Project manager takes care of cost or estimate. BA takes only requirements.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Right. And this, which one is good or bad business requirement? Application is sent to system using Foxtrot from internet. Business will review the application and contact the customer, letting them know the decision they have come up with. Which is a good requirement or which is a bad requirement?
I think the second one is a good requirement. Business will review.
Yeah. Second one is correct. Therefore, one more is, first one is wrong because defines what is used to send the application. Developer who defines this, not the business. Business doesn't care how the application is deployed at the end user's perspective. They want it to be executed. Internet should know the business decision. How it is being taken to the end users and deployed. Let the security manager or information security manager take care of it. For the second one is a good business requirement. One more is which one is good or bad functional requirement. Report show all opened application are available. User has ability to save multiple addresses on their application. Whoever mailing address is required. File is sent to some server name using Foxtrot in batch mode nightly. Which one is good or bad functional requirement?
The first two are good requirements.
Yeah, what a functional requirement should have is takes who, what, and when, and determines how. Workflow, but not the solution. Customer is still the audience. Workflow of application or a process can be part of it. Stay away from push buttons or window pop. Let the developer decide like how this be implemented in the software. Developer defines these methods, not the PO. Should be detailed enough that developer knows exactly what needs to be done. These are the guidelines for functional requirements. Therefore, which one is good or bad functional requirement?
One and three should be bad and two should be good, I believe.
Yes. No. 2 is correct. 1 is bad because need to define the details of the report. Developer don't know what to build based on that statement. It's an incomplete statement. Third one is bad because server name and Foxtrot are technical solutions. And batch mode and nightly are good functional requirements. The second one is correct. All these different ways in which you can differentiate between business and functional requirements. Right. Any questions up till here? Therefore, these are in the high level, you can say business requirements will have the goals, objectives, needs of the enterprise. Right. From mainly end users perspective, you will gather the requirements. Right. Stakeholders means people who uses your product. Let's say, for example, regulatory people want to use your product, or government organizations want to use your product or generate some reports. Right. Those are part of stakeholders. Right. Therefore, from their perspective, what are the requirements you have implemented in your software? Those are called as stakeholder requirements. Solution requirements mainly from the developer's perspective. Right. You can add even functional and non-functional requirements. Functional like minimizing the window, maximizing the window, application functionality. Non-functional is like security, usability, quality. All these are non-functional requirements or preferable requirements. Right. Therefore, sometimes these functional and non-functional requirements can be part of solution. Sometimes they can be part of business requirements. Sometimes business says, I want the report in this format. Therefore, that usability is part of, again, business requirements sometimes. And transition is like, how do you, how the end user uses your application, like user manuals, help manuals, navigation manuals, all those are part of transition requirements. You're doing knowledge transfer to the end users. All these different types of requirements. Right. Any questions up till here? Any questions on these functional, non-functional requirements? How do you differentiate functional, non-functional? Or how do you differentiate different types of requirements? Any questions? All are clear about this?
Yes, Vijay.
Yeah. We'll close this. Then If there is no questions, we will stop.
Sir, I have one question. One
Yeah.
question that is that a BA or a system analyst who will prepare this transition requirement, because it is a part of technical requirements also.
Yeah. Sometimes.
So
Yeah.
each BA is responsible totally for this requirements, or this will be handled by separately system analyst or development team?
Yeah, it depends on your opportunity. You are there until UAT, you are there after requirement phase, right? Then
Yeah,
as a BA, you will be preparing it, right? Or sometimes you take the
yeah,
help of technical writer in preparing it. Or there are some services companies after requirement phase, you are deployed on some other project. In that case, project manager or technical writer will take care of it.
okay.
It depends on company to company or organization to organization. You are there staying till the UAT or you are not staying in the UAT. Accordingly, they will prepare these documents.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Any other
Vijay,
questions?
Rajesh here. I have a question on your sizing slide, right?
Yes.
So there was a mention of hours, right? 120 hours for small and
Yes.
one more number for medium and large. So what
Yes.
is that exactly that hours we are referring here?
One person working for 8 hours per day. It is like 120 hours. It's a small project.
Okay, it's exactly how much of a man hours are spent for that
Yes.
particular project or process, right? Okay.
Yes. Therefore, if there are less than 3 people, it's a small project. Or 3 or less than 3. Or approximately 3 to 9 people, it is a medium project. Or more than 9 people working on the project, it is complex project.
Okay.
This is generic, which is given, which is following till now. Therefore, it depends on organization to organization also. Because some
Okay.
companies will consider 21 days is 1 month. Some people will consider 22 days as 1 month. Depends on that. Small, medium, and large projects.
So what if that application, what we are going to develop, is
Yes.
going to be used by, let's say, some public forum where we cannot determine the number of people who are going to use the application, right? Maybe in that case, how we will
That
go
case,
with this?
go with the number of reports or screens. Anyone, not necessarily all the 3 should be satisfied. Sometimes with the number
Okay.
of users the application, sometimes with the number of screens or reports or requirements you have in the project.
Okay.
The business logic you are using in the project or any new technology you are using.
Okay.
There is no one hard and fast rule like that. For every time, estimations is always plus or minus 75%. Only 75% accurate.
Sure.
Any questions?
Vijay, nothing from my end.
Yes.
Thank you very much for putting this presentation together.
Thank you. We will close this. Tomorrow we will see some other topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.